Hi there, business owner. Do you want a better understanding of business finance, what your numbers actually mean, and stories of the highs and lows of business, where I'll be sharing my tips and tricks every week? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to the 3Bs podcast with Stephanie. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast. As always, I'm your host Stephanie, and I am so grateful that you are here listening to the podcast this week. As you may or may not know, if it's your first time here, my aim and goal for this podcast is to build better businesses, because we grow together, and the better businesses we can build, the more goals we can achieve, and who doesn't like success, right? This week, I wanted to talk to you all about debriefing. So this week we held a debrief webinar about our debrief process and how we debrief it at ABCS UK after a big project is over. We do it after tax season specifically. But I want to share my debrief process with you today in the hopes that you can go away with it and debrief yourselves so that you can build a better business. Enjoy the episode. So first things first, what do I mean by a debrief? So a debrief for us is a process we follow where we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of every project we complete, or at regular intervals throughout the business, to find ways that we can better ourselves the next time around. Now you can look at your processes and your systems using a debrief process, or like we do in the practice, you can wait until you've completed a large project and use that large project to debrief to learn, so that next time you can do it even better, more efficiently, more profitable, whatever it is that you are looking to achieve in your business. We have a 4-step plus a bonus debrief process at ABCS UK, and I'm looking to share that with you today. So I hope this helps. If you do have any questions or want a copy of my debrief process template, find us on social media at ABCS UK. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Send me the word debrief in a DM and we will get a copy of our template over to you. Step 1 in the debrief process that we use is to collate the facts and figures. Now, KPIs, or key performance indicators, you will have heard me talk about on the podcast before. They are important ways of measuring what's going on in your business. Now, when you're doing a debrief or a large project, it should be no different. You need to decide on your KPIs at the beginning of a project or at the beginning of starting to track those parts of your business. It could be the number of sales you've made. It could be the volume of sales you've made. It could be your gross profit. It could be your net profit, or it could be something not necessarily linked to your financial data. So it could be the conversion rate in percentages of people that have clicked onto your offer and then bought it. It could be the number of advertisements you've placed and the ROI, or the return on investment of those adverts, to see if it's profitable as part of your project. It could be the number of days it's taken to convert a customer. There is so many different KPIs, and depending on the project and depending on your business, they're going to vary hugely. So you need to decide on your KPIs, and at the end of the project, when you start to debrief, you need to collate all those facts and figures. Maybe you need to speak to your bookkeeper or accountant to work out your percentages or your ratios that you may need. But you need to collate all that data at the very first step of your debrief process. Now, once you've collated all your facts and figures that you need for your debrief process, we're moving on to step 2. Now, step 2 is to make a note of what went well. Now, we do this on purpose because naturally a lot of people start with a negative mindset. We'll start with the negatives and what didn't go so well. So to really focus the mind on the positives and getting the most out of these debrief processes, we start with what went well. Now, what went well, you literally just need to create a list. We have a template that we use already. We use like a table for what went well in our process. But this could be what went well during the planning stages of that particular project. It could be things that went well during the project. It could even be things that went well in the results of the project. Maybe the project had better results than you imagined. Your sales figures were higher than you thought they were going to be. It could be that during the planning phase, it didn't take you as long to decide on your KPIs or your key performance indicators. It could be that because your processes are better in your business, that you didn't need to use as many resources during the project or to plan out the project. Make a note of what went well, because it'll open your eyes to actually the good bits of a project. We're business owners. We know that almost every single day, challenges and hurdles will come up that we are not expecting. And when we're completing a project, it is no different. Some challenges we can preempt and plan for in case they occur, but 9 times out of 10, we just don't know what's going to happen when these challenges come up. And when they do, we have to overcome them. So when you are doing a debrief, it's really important to make a note of all the challenges that you face, any problems that occurred during the course of the project, or maybe even before or after, so that you have a full, well-rounded view of the project as a whole. It could be that you had members of staff call in sick, so they weren't available to complete the work load in time. It could be that the cost of materials has increased and therefore your profit margins are taken a hit during the project. It could be any number of things that you come across in the line of business. Maybe the footfall wasn't as high as you expected on your shop opening. Maybe your conversion rate was lower than you'd planned, or maybe there wasn't just enough sign-ups to your launch or your project, whatever it may be. Make a note of all the challenges you face and all the hurdles you overcame during the project. That's your step 3. And step 4 in the debrief process is to look at the changes you're going to implement going forwards. The main point of a debrief, a great benefit to doing a debrief, is that you can identify issues and resolve them before next time they come around. So once you have a whole view picture of the project, once you've completed steps 1, 2, and 3, you will be able to see what changes need to be implemented next time you complete that project. And it's all well and good having that information, but if you're not physically implementing those changes, taking action, you're not going to see the benefit of doing it, and it's actually just a waste of time. So have a look at the step 1, 2, and 3 as a whole, and step 4 is to implement the changes. First, note the changes you're going to make in the business, and then take action on them and implement them so that you can see the results next time around. The projects that you're debriefing on may be similar to us in that tax return season is April to January, but mainly the bulk of it is in like December and January each year. So at the beginning of February, we debrief, but that's an annual project that we complete every single year. A one-off website rebuild may not be something you do repeatedly in your business, but maybe the service you provide to a client, maybe you provide the web design service, you can complete the debrief, and then next time a new client comes to you for a web design service, you can provide them with a better service because you've done that debrief and understood the issues that you came across and how to make it more efficient, more productive, more profitable for yourself, and maybe to provide a better service to your customer or your client journey. So step 4 is to look at the changes and actually implement them. And the bonus step in our debrief process, and I call it a bonus step because depending on the project that you're debriefing, it may not be relevant, is to do a full cost analysis on the project itself. Now, for a lot of businesses, they do like a monthly cost analysis. They'll do a profit and loss for a whole month rather than an individualized project. But depending on the type of project you have, so for us at tax season, it's super important that we look at the actual costs we're spending out versus the income we're receiving for completing those services. So costs are not only your physical materials, your cost of goods sold, your wages and time taken from your staff resources. It's the things that are often forgotten about, like a portion of your rent if you have to hire workspace, a portion of your software costs, a portion of any tools that you have to buy in that may not be used specifically for that project, but you couldn't complete the project without those costs. It could be that you have to take a client out to lunch or have a coffee meeting or a staff team meeting which requires a coffee. All those costs that are incurred need to be included in a full cost analysis if you're tracking that, to work out actually where the profit lies in that particular service. So there you have it, my 4 and a bonus step debrief process that we go through at ABCS UK when we have completed a large project. I really hope you found that helpful. If you would like our template and our guide that we use in the practice, find us on social media and drop us a DM with the word debrief and we'll get that sent over to you. Not a problem. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to us on social media or drop us an email. We're more than happy to help where we can. I really, really, truly hope that this has been useful for you and that it will help you understand your businesses more on a project level rather than an overall month level. I will see you next week for the next episode. Oh, before I forget, if you could, please like and rate and subscribe and follow, depending what it is in what podcast app you're listening to, this podcast so that I can reach more business owners. This week, things have blown up a little bit and we've been able to reach a lot more people than normal, which is amazing. And I thank you so much for doing that for us. But I want to reach even more business owners. So if you could just take a 30 seconds to click the 5 stars, preferably, or leave a little review or share it on your Instagram stories and tag us in it at ABCS UK or at the 3Bs. We will reshare that too. So we will be super grateful if you could help us reach even more business owners. I'll see you all next week. And that brings us to the end of another week of the 3Bs podcast with Stephanie. Thank you so much for listening. I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, rate and review this podcast wherever you are listening to it, so that I can reach more business owners and help them build better businesses. See you next week for the next episode.